Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on WakeUpCallDT.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT. Happy to be here with you, listening on internet live streaming radio. You're listening on video and watching on video here on Facebook Live on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT. All of this is happening inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Go to CafeKubal.com for more information on their home delivery, which is free of delivery charge if you're in Onondaga County. The mobile cafe that will go to your neighborhood or your place of business, and their neighborhood cafes that are located on 3501 James Street, 401 South Salina Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, and inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital, Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul. With that being said, we have here with us this morning Lou Alexander. Lou is joining us to round out today's broadcast, and he is a former offensive lineman for Syracuse. We got a lot of stuff to get to. I appreciate your patience with getting Lou on here this morning. And inside of Mon Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factories, what's poppin'? It is my honor and my privilege to welcome in Lou Alexander. Lou, how are we doing today?
I'm good, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate you bringing me on the show this morning. All the listeners, thank you guys for tuning in, Dan. I really do appreciate it, man. So thank you. I'm excited about the conversation.
Yeah, man, and I got to give you some credit, and it's something that doesn't get talked about a lot. When you're an offensive lineman, you got to be a big guy, right? You got to eat like maybe, we're all eating 3 meals a day. You might be eating 7, right. So you're out there doing your thing and whatnot. And I got to give you credit, brother. You look good. You trimmed down, looking fit, you almost look like a different human being. And I don't think we credit that enough. That once you finish up with football and whatnot, that's you can kind of change your body type a little bit and get a little bit healthier, because when you're a lineman, you got to pack on those pounds and be able to kind of take up a lot of space. So credit to you for having a great kind of transformation from being an offensive lineman to where you are now. You look good, Lou. Yeah. So congrats.
I appreciate that. It's funny because you mentioned that, and I kind of take the motivation from all the years of my running backs and my receivers telling me that I was a big old guy. I was like, you know what, and one day I'll be in better shape than you. So you know what, I take that as my light and the kind of my fire that was lit under me. And then also, too, I got to pay a huge kind of shout out to William Hicks. I mean, this is a legend that's been a part of Syracuse University strength and conditioning. And honestly, I just took a lot of what he taught me as a baseline early on, man, to really just help transform my body. So being down now to 245 pounds and once being 330 pounds as an offensive lineman, my body feels extremely different. So, you know what, I got to give a huge shout out and credit where credit is due for giving me that foundation, but also thanking my receivers and running backs for telling me that I'll always be a big offensive lineman.
Yeah, I mean, that's fuel for the fire, baby. That's how it is, So,
that's it.
So what did you? So say it again. What was your highest, and what are you now?
So my highest was actually 341 when I played at Syracuse. So going into my junior year, I was actually at 341 pounds, and now I'm 244 pounds. So it's definitely a big difference and a huge jump now from where I was about 2 years ago. So I started this weight loss journey about 2 years ago, actually, just trying to transform my body because I was just done carrying the weight. Obviously working in corporate or just as an entrepreneur, it's hard to kind of move around with so much weight on your body. So, yeah, I had to transform and hit that new kind of restart button into a new world. And now, being 241 pounds, still has a big frame, and I'm still 6'4", but at the end of the day, it does feel a lot better than having 100 pounds on you. So.
Yeah, I mean, taking 100 pounds off is it's like taking off like one of me. You know what I mean? Like it's like not having me on your back. So, but
exactly.
And I mean, I'll tell you, Lou. I mean, I don't know if you and I had spoken about this, but big shout out to you coming off of that. Kind of what's been going on in my life is the fact that I made the decision I wasn't any crazy weight, but when I go back and I look at pictures or I look at videos, I'm like, my face was really full, and I remember I was bloated a lot. I was uncomfortable and whatnot. And I decided 140 days ago, as of today's day 141, but 140 days as of yesterday, I made the decision to start walking 10,000 steps a day at least every day. and now it's been 140 days, which is what, it's almost 5 months that I have that I've done this straight. And it's crazy because I got up to probably 170, 175, something like that. I go into the doctor last month, and he goes, "You're 160 pounds," and that was in the middle of the day. And so he's like, "You're 160," and he was like, "You look good. You're everything." He's like, "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it."
Exactly.
And so it made me feel good because this kind of walk for me and this change for me of healthy mind and healthy body it came out of something personally that had happened that's had made me sad and kind of down, and then it also came from me dealing with Corona and just wanting better for myself and mentally to be stronger and this and that. So it was kind of like this perfect storm where I could have either gone into depression or finally carried myself to a higher level, and I decided to climb the mountain, and I'm so happy that I did.
No, that's awesome. No, that's awesome. And you look good, by the way, too. I mean, I've been seeing pictures of you as well, man. So you definitely look real good. And it is, right? It is that kind of turning point that you just mentioned, that you really just have that light bulb moment of, am I going to actually sit here and sulk in just, me not being able to lose any weight? And just like you just mentioned with Corona, that's a good transition into, one of the real reasons why I wanted to get into this weight loss journey and really kind of push it, because, a lot of my friends and a lot of people that I know, family members as well, I'm kind of their light of inspiration to really push them towards, this weight loss transformation. And it was a turning point for me, in 2016, where, I had high blood pressure, I was experiencing a lot of health issues when it came to just being overweight. And now, granted, when I was playing football, it was always active movements, right? I was always practicing every day, waking up for 5 a.m. I was eating 6,000, 7,000 calories, but, I was burning off, probably all of that or more, with just in one day of camp. So, when you're in camp, you're burning off that weight, but now living a normal life, so to speak, you kind of get this mentality of, okay, do I still eat that way? And you can't, because you're obviously sitting at a desk, or you're just going to work every day, so your body doesn't burn as much. And when I started this weight loss journey in 2016, man, I really told myself that I wanted to devote myself to, losing and shedding the weight from a health standpoint. I had to change my lifestyle more than anything, not necessarily just the weight loss factor. So that just played a big part into the real transformation, man. And kudos to you as well for taking that journey, man, and not, sitting back and not actioning it as well. So that's huge. Congrats to you also.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with having two pretty men on Wake Up Call this morning. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong, man. Nothing wrong with it at all, man. You know what? My wife gets on me all the time because she say, you think you're too good looking sometime now, right? And I'll say, you know what? It's okay now. My confidence level is 100 now, so I'm a ride the wave a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. You got to look at. I mean, you got to look at her and do that Dave Chappelle skit. Better watch the inside voice before I put you outside. That's that's all you got to do. Now, if she's listening right now, which I feel like she is, please know that I am kidding. And I hope I get to meet your lovely lady someday. So
I was about to say, man, don't get me in trouble, man. I still have to go home after this, man.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. We can all joke about it in the morning, but when you got to come home and she's standing in the driveway with her hands on her hips, like, oh, so you're gonna say that about me on the radio? Okay, yeah, yeah.
Oh man, yep, exactly.
I've gotten those messages before. Dude, I got messages before. This one girl. Okay, let me be real about this. I'm always real on the show, and I love how my mom will be sitting there going, "Why are you talking about that stuff, getting yourself in trouble?" I'm like, Mom, I don't care. Always choose comedy above everything. So there's this one girl that we were supposed to go out on a date, and she bailed on it, and so I was on the show, and I don't know what I was talking about. But I brought up her favorite movie. And I was like, if a girl ever tells you that her favorite movie is Pet Sematary, you better run in the other direction, like, real quick. And so, but I didn't say her name or anything like that. She messages me after the show, and she's just like, I can't believe you would do that to me. I can't believe you would say that. And I'm sitting here thinking, we're talking about morality. You stood me up on a date. You want to talk about morality. And she's like, you should be ashamed of yourself. You owe me an apology. And then I wrote back to her. I go, what makes you think that when I say on my show that there was a crazy woman that liked Pet Sematary, what makes you think you're the only crazy woman I know that likes that movie? You must have a guilty conscience, is what I said. So
hey, I have to give her a little bit of kudos, whoever that was, because man, for her to really hone in on that and say, you know what, I'm gonna be exact because I know you're talking about me. She must be a smart woman.
Yeah, but I was like, what makes you think you're the only crazy person out there? But that's a guilty conscience. All I said was crazy people like Pet Cemetery. That's all I said. That's all I said.
She's self-identified, right?
Yeah, she's self-identified, right? So I'm just trying to throw it out there, just trying to tell the truth in this world. But Lou Alexander, what'd you say?
I said that's it. Yep, that's it exactly.
So Lou Alexander here with us this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Lou, we got a lot of stuff to get to. Let's jump into first and foremost here. Before anything else, because I consider it to be the most important conversation. There's a lot of stuff going on, and when it comes to social justice, and I think what is a very slippery slope, and what concerns me, is that not only have we seen 400 plus years of the black community not feeling equal and not feeling safe, we've seen that, but now there's also things that are happening on the West Coast of ambushes and cops getting shot and people standing outside of hospitals saying, let them die. When you can't trade a human life for another human life. And if you're mad that people are getting killed in one group, you can't hope that people get killed in another group, because that's never going to balance out. So, first and foremost, just what your take is on social justice and in the state of the world where people either want cops to die or they want black people to die or they want this. I would love it if nobody dies, would be great. Right. So what can you say about it?
Yeah, this one is just a very touchy topic for me, and the reason that it is a very touchy topic is because, growing up in the inner cities of Los Angeles, we look at a lot of that uncertainty and we experience a lot of that kind of systemic racism, so to speak, and inequality, on a day-to-day. And I think, as a child, when you're growing up, and just to kind of paint a picture a little bit, you never understand really exactly what's happening in your environment because it's your environment, right? So, when you are in these environments and all you know is, all you know is poverty, so to speak. All you know is, being in the inner city. And when you step outside and you see different environments or different cities that may be the upper echelons or the more middle class and different things of that nature, you start to get a different perspective of, is it actually right of what I'm going through currently? And, for me right now, the world as we live currently is very, very, very terrifying to me. That's the best way that I can put it. And I say that because I have a son as well. And I have a 2-year-old son, and growing up in this world where I have to teach my son, how to act and conduct himself when he's getting pulled over by a cop, once he gets to that age, that's a little bit of a touchy thing to really have to experience. And obviously growing up and experiencing my own inequalities or injustice with law enforcement was very, very challenging. But I think the biggest thing, like you just mentioned, is that what unifies us all is understanding that we are all people, that we are all one human, and we're a human race, and it's for the betterment of each other. And I think, once we kind of separate, color and creed and economic status and things of those nature, we can all start to see ourselves as one. And like you just mentioned, we don't have to trade a life for a life. And I think the biggest thing is just trying to continue to push awareness and educate the ones that may not be educated about what goes on in the inner cities or what goes on, on a day-to-day with being an African American, and I have these conversations candidly with a lot of my, ex-alumni, and I want to give a huge shout out right now to, one of the ex-alumni as well, that he's always kind of pushing his social justice, and that's Cameron Lynch. He's one guy that's always continuing to create a platform and trying to bring that awareness. And, I want to push that because that's what we need. We need people like that. We need people like myself to try to push an understanding, but also too, we need individuals that's also seeking that understanding as well. You know, they need to sit back and try to seek that perspective, because there is different perspectives. You know, what goes on in your household may be completely different than what goes on in mine. But if we have that kind of that balance and that common goal of the betterment of the human being and of the human race, and that's one race, then I think we'll all be unified when it comes to this world that we're living in, especially during a pandemic, man. I mean, for all this to go on during such a crazy time during this pandemic, it's just baffling to me, man. So, you know, I think that's just kind of how I feel overall with it. And it's a very, very, very challenging thing to have to see on social media every single day with the Jacob Blakes and the Breonna Taylors and, you know, the Ahmaud Aubryns and different things of that nature. You know, that is a very challenging thing to see. And, you know, I just pray for a better world, man, and I try to push positivity for a better world for sure.
Speaking here with Syracuse Orange offensive line alum Lou Alexander. Lou, you mentioned the fact that you're not just living in this world. You have somebody that you love, that, you know, that is your partner, and you have a child. You know,
Yep.
living in a world where, you know, we all have something in somebody that we care about. To look at it in that respect, just what you can say about being a family man, seeing the world the way it is, and seeing it be, you know, a place that doesn't really, you know, necessarily, it's kind of all over the place, and it doesn't always make you feel safe. It doesn't always make you feel good. What can you say about, you know, living in a world where it's not just you, it's your kid, it's your partner, it's your life, you know, it's your life, it's their life, and the fact that you know, whatever you went through as a child, I would assume that you don't want your own son to go through.
Yeah, no, 100%. You know, and you know, I have a biracial, a mixed wife. So my wife is half Italian and she's half African American. And you know, the cool thing about, you know, this dynamic between us is that I have the perspective of talking to her mother, whom is, you know, Italian descent and grew up in Boston when, you know, it wasn't accepted for, you know, whites to date blacks. You know, that was unacceptable. But then I also have on the other side where her father is African American. So for me, I can kind of pull from those strings a little bit, because now the conversation is a little different. The conversation now is me sitting at a table with her mother and really trying to talk through, you know, my experience as well, but also having her father at the other end kind of relate to my experience, and me and him being able to talk to educate the group in a nutshell. And I think when I say the group, I mean our family. And so, you know, my wife and I have these conversations because growing up where she grew up in the suburbs of Massachusetts, she didn't really see that as a issue because it was a small bubble, as if she was identified as maybe being middle class or identified as being someone that is not African American descent. But I think stepping into a place like Los Angeles, California, where I currently live, or when she stepped into college, it was an eye-opening experience to see the diversity. So our conversations are now really different, and it's educated to push a narrative forward, but it's also educating each other, because now I can see the shortcomings of the other side, but also they can see the shortcomings of my side, so we can kind of balance each other. Yeah. And so that conversation is a little bit, it's I wouldn't say it's easier, but I would say it's more educational from a standpoint of we know now how to teach our son and how to educate our son, because my son doesn't live in the same environment that I grew up in, right? And that's a beautiful thing. I've worked my butt off to get to this position in life, to take him outside of that so he didn't have to experience what I experienced. And so now it's about how do you survive in a world where you are still identified as a black male in this world where it's predominantly, you know, Caucasian when it comes to authority, when it comes to hierarchy. So, you know, that's the conversations that we are having currently. And, you know, and it's crazy because he's two. So right now, you know, it's not sticking. He just wants his bottle. He wants his bottle, and he wants a cup, and he wants food. That's what he wants right now. Yeah. But I think when he gets to that age, it'll be pretty cool, and not necessarily cool, but it'll be interesting to see exactly how receptive he is of that conversation, which I know he will be, but it's just a process. And I think right now we're just preparing ourselves for that conversation. That's it.
Yeah, and I think, you talk about it, you're like, my son, he's 2, and now he just wants a bottle and he just wants a cup for food. The funny thing about that and the reality of that is as we get older, we forget that we should just, I should be 34 years old and I should just want something to drink and some food. You should be appreciating, and what I mean by that is you should be appreciating your blessings, appreciating the roof over your head, appreciating the clothes on your back, appreciating the food and the drink and the running water and all these things that you have to enjoy. And, you kind of bring up something by mentioning your son. You bring up something I say on the show all the time. I've never understood, and I never will because I don't have hate in my heart. I don't understand how we don't all want the same thing. I mean, I'm sure there's crazy people out there, but the majority of us, wanting the same thing. We want to have a nice neighborhood. We want to have a safe neighborhood. We want our kids to have a good life. We want to have a good life. We want to make enough money to pay our bills and to be able to do some extra stuff and have some fun. We want to, have our pleasures, and I don't want to call them guilty pleasures because you shouldn't feel guilt to go to an NBA game or go to the movies or go to Bahamas or go to Disney or Hawaii or whatever it may be. We all want the same stuff. We want to have enough money. We want to have good health care. We want to have a safe neighborhood. At the end of the day, Lou, whether you look like me or I look like you, we all want the same things. And I guess what I don't understand is
100%.
We're treating each other like that's a giraffe and that's a rhino and that's a hippopotamus. It's like, no, we're all human beings. We all look the same. We just have different shades of color. That's all it is.
Right, exactly. I completely agree with you, and I share that same sentiment because, that's how I was raised, even growing up in a very, single parent household where we didn't have and we weren't blessed with everything in the world. And even in the midst of all of the negativity that someone may see from coming out of the household that I lived in, when I say negativity, just the lack of resources and opportunity, my mom still pushed the narrative of love everyone, no matter what, no matter how low your low is, you still have to love people and you still have to respect. And those are just basic morals and principles that you're taught at a young age, and I think when you are taught those basic morals and principles at a young age, those cultivate with you. You grow with those things. And I think it starts within the household of how generations are teaching their children how to behave amongst humans. Let's set aside race, it's about being a good person. And a good person tells you that, that is not right. I know right from wrong, and I'm able to differentiate the two. Some people, they grow up with hate and malice in their heart for whatever reason. We don't know, but we can never connect with that because we don't have that upbringing or that in our body. Our hearts are set with pure intentions, not necessarily set with hatred. So, it's just one of those things where I think, the world would be a lot better place if they had a mother like mine. So.
I feel the same way. And my mom she watches and she listens, and she got mad when she had to go back to work because my mom had an injury. When she had to go back to work, she's like, I can't listen. I'm like, Ma, you can listen to the show like right after it goes live. It's in the archive. She goes, it's not the same. So like, it's just so I'm happy that, I love that you just said, I wish everybody had a mother like mine because you took those words right out of my mouth. So
absolutely.
We got some good ones. Can you shout? I mean, my mom's name is Debbie. I love you, Mama. But shout out your mom. I want to shout out Mom.
Absolutely. So I want to shout out my mother, Tammy Cole. Up in Palmdale, California. Mom, I love you. I know you're listening in, so I definitely love you. I know I'm 30 years old and I get on your nerves sometimes, but you know what? I am still your baby boy, so I love you.
That to me, That made my day this morning. I feel like I could just drop the mic and walk out, but we got more work to do, and I know that this is a conversation that needs to continue to be a conversation, and it will be here on Wake Up Call. It's been a conversation well before the conversation that people are having now. So I appreciate that, Lou, and to go outside of that and to get back onto the field. Just what you can tell me about your thoughts on Syracuse Week 1 against North Carolina. Listen, you are a former offensive lineman for Syracuse. You know the offensive line has had some woes last season, which was what was a big concern to me was that Aaron Service, who I respect the team, I respect the guys, and they know that. I respect them all the way through. When I was talking to Aaron Service 2 weeks before the season last season, I said, "What position are you playing in, or can you tell me about the guys, who's kind of stepping up?" And he's like, "Well, we don't really have positions yet. The coaches still don't know where they want us to be or where they feel comfortable." And I remember going, it's 14 days, 13 days before the season. That's a horrible, horrible sign. And ended up tracking them all the way through the season. And, Aaron had to play left tackle. He had to play center. You can't be in two places at once. And so, I appreciate his talent and I appreciate his leadership. And I know he's trying to be more vocal this year. But it's frustrating to see the struggles here on the offensive line. Yet, in the game against North Carolina, I don't put it on the offensive line. I think the line gave Tommy DeVito plenty of time. And there was, go into that because you're a former offensive lineman. You watched the game. You saw the O-line against North Carolina, the team that's picked to finish third in the ACC of 15 schools. How is the offensive line in the debut this season?
You know what? I want to grade the offensive line as I want to give them. You know what? Listen, I want to give them probably a grade around, I would say, a B minus. And the reason being is because week 1 you never have it together. And one of the things I say that is because when you're an offensive lineman and when the coach is looking at who is that next guy up, you never know. And really, especially with the camp that they've had in Corona, you can't really truly get a true evaluation of who you actually have that can be that set guy at left tackle or right tackle or center or guard. You really can never get that set time unless you get some playing experience, because what I can tell you the coaches are doing right now is that they're going back and they're looking at film and they're seeing, okay, well, did this guy quick set too much to the left, or did he open up and when he run block, did he open up and actually, take on and get his hat on the other side of the defender to drive him forward? You're looking at all those small tweaks that makes an offensive lineman an offensive lineman. And, you want to see how he's doing an inside run. You want to see how he's doing in pass protection, if it's a will or Micah protection. You want to see how the center is basically orchestrating the calls on the line. You have to see all those things and get those kinks out in week 1 for you to really make a true evaluation, and then going into week 2 be that much better. Because I can tell you this, they're going to be a lot better come next week. And the reason being is because some of these guys, their first time playing with one another, or some of them are returning, so they never know. And then also, like you just mentioned, some of them have different positions that they're playing as well. So they have to learn how to be a cohesive unit. And that's what it is about offensive line, is that, you just can't step out there like a receiver and be on an island and then run a route. And then you're like, okay, cool, I'm open and I can get that timing down with my quarterback. It doesn't come that quick. Whereas offensive line, it takes time, because if I have a guard that's next to me, if I'm playing right tackle and me and the guard have a combination block up to a linebacker, I need to feel how my offensive lineman or how my guard is working with me up to that linebacker. If I don't know how that is, in camp you may get that feel, but that game speed is completely different. And honestly, I got to give respect where respect is due. North Carolina, they weren't a bad team from a defensive standpoint. They had a solid defensive line. Yeah, they're not blowing out the ACC in defensive line, but they had some stout guys inside that were really good. So I think it makes the job that the offensive line has to look at, week to week, and understand the feel of each other. And once they get that feel down, oh my God, man, the sky is the limit for them. I think that, like you said, Tommy DeVito had a lot of time, and pass blocking is just one aspect of the game. Now we just have to fine-tune and look at exactly what run blocking is and all the different things of that nature, so we can just be better in week 2. But I think I said a B-, but I know that they're going to get a lot better because there were a lot of mental issues and a lot of mental errors that happened in week 1.
Yeah, and like you said, no spring ball, fall ball is kind of like, quick here and whatnot. So that's
right.
something to look at, and something to obviously pay attention to as they move forward. So I think that there's a lot to be said about this team and what this team is looking to do. But like you said, I don't think this offensive line is completely to blame. My frustration, I don't know if you saw it here, and I said I would love it if they could expand out and show us everything that Tommy DeVito is seeing, because, there were times where the pocket was condensing, his offensive line is blocking for them, they're blocking back into him, and he's not moving. He's leaning on them, he's not getting away from them, so he's getting sacked because he's refusing to leave the pocket. He's holding on the ball for a long time, which is making me wonder, is North Carolina playing fantastic shutdown defense on every play, or is he not seeing the whole field? What's going on? So, I look to Tommy and say, what are you seeing? What did you notice? What was going on? Because we blame the offensive line. You hear that all the time, but I don't think that that's fair. And in this game, I really would love to know what Tommy thinks about what he saw and what he's doing. And now that he's been hopefully able to look at some film, what his takeaways have been from this, because that is a big question mark for me, is with the time that he did have, what did he do with that time?
Absolutely. And, I think he has enough game experience right now where, the expectations are set a little higher for him. Being a junior quarterback and coming into this year, obviously, he is going to be the focal point to lead this team. I look back at guys that I played with, like Ryan Nassib, Charlie Lowe, all these guys that I played football with as well. And, I can bet my bottom dollar that, I can come out week 1 against Northwestern, and Ryan Nassib, if we give him time, he's going to make sure that he's getting the ball to Marcus Sales or Van Chu, and he's going to make sure, or Alec Lemon, right? He's going to make sure that he's doing a lot with that time. And, that was the expectation that we set in that locker room early on, with saying, hey, we got your back. Let's just have mine, And I think I just really question if the leadership aspect is there from Tommy DeVito, and not to speak down on the kid or anything like that. He's a Q's guy. He's my brother, and he's people that we want to see grow. But I challenge where is his leadership and his mentality when it's going into this game, because, if we want a successful season, especially in the ACC, the quarterback play is going to be huge for us, because that was our Achilles heel last year. And so, that's what I would like to see coming into the next weeks, is that, what is he actually going to turn and what is he going to tweak? And I hope right now he's studying and he's in the film room making sure that he's looking at all the things that he probably had as miscues going into week 1.
Yeah, and hopefully, he'll be able to make those adjustments and do what he needs to do. They're going to face a Pittsburgh team that is definitely going to get after it. Pittsburgh team that is good at running the score up. They beat Austin Peay 55-0. Granted, it was Austin Peay, but still, looking at the fact that Pittsburgh knows how to score and they know how to run the ball, and Syracuse struggles against the run. So, historically of these last few seasons, I want to give a shout out to Tyra Manning Great here, Kingsley Jonathan's mom. We had the video with Kingsley on a little bit ago. And let's talk about that. The defensive side of the ball, you look at the game, and if somebody didn't watch the game, they're going to blame the defense, right? It's 31-6. It's on the defense. I don't agree with this in any way, shape, or form. Josh Black had a sack in a game. Kingsley Jonathan had a sack that prevented a touchdown and forced a field goal. We saw Mikel Jones had his first career interception at linebacker. Andre Sisco has his 13th career interception, first of this season in the first game, and he leads the entire nation in interceptions for active players. The defense, to me, gave the offense every single opportunity. If you were still an offensive lineman at Syracuse, Lou, on the team now, I think you'd be hugging this defensive line, that the linebackers, the secondary. If you had the defense that they had in this game against North Carolina, Don't you think that it was more on the offense to complete this game? Because that's where I see the lack was. But you're a former offensive lineman. If you had this defense from last week, what can you tell me about that?
Oh, man. I mean, first off, when you got a defensive back like Andre Cisco that can get you the ball back at any time you want it, I mean, that's amazing to have. And, you know, we used to thrive and we would get excited as an offense where when we get the opportunity to score, oh, absolutely, we're going out there by any means. If I got to run 100 plays out throughout the game, that's a job well done for us, you know, and we know that we beat down the other defense so we can make it easier for our defense. We want to keep our defense off the field. And that's the biggest thing for us is that how long we get the ball in our time of possession, that's what's going to dictate the game. And that was our mindset going into the game, you know, when we used to play is that, you know, we want to keep the defense off. And having a defense like we have, I mean, yes, granted, they kept the whole, it was, 6-7 at half. It was 14-6 or 6-7 at halftime, one of the two. And, of course, the defense is going to give up big plays coming into it when you're 3 and out as an offense. You know, that's not on the defense. That is something that the offense have to look themselves in the mirror and say, man, they've been giving us 3 and outs, and I mean, we've been going 3 and outs, and, you know, the defense has been holding up their end. We have to score. And it's a numbers game in football. If no points are on the board, then you know what? The defense can only hold up so long, and we can't expect the defense to get us out of that. We got to put the defense into good positions, and I think if I was playing, man, I would have loved the defense that they have right now because, man, the defense that they have it's unreal. I mean, this is one of the best defense I've seen since the Shaper era early on when, you know, he would have run the OT packages and different things of that nature, but this is a defense of pure athletes. I mean, it's amazing. The defense that they have. So I want to give a huge, huge shout out to the defense for sure. I would have loved to play for them.
That coming from Lou Alexander, would love to play with the defense that Syracuse currently has. Lou Alexander being a former offensive lineman for Syracuse. Lou, before I let you go, I do want to get into rapid fire here in a second, but I do want to make mention, I don't want to be remiss on this, to let everybody know what you're doing now, the website that you have, how people can get in touch with you. I'll send that off to you before we go to rapid fire.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, you know, what I'm currently doing right now is obviously I've been in tech for the last 5 years outside of, you know, coming out of college and different things of that nature in my little short stint in the NFL. You know, but recently, March 27th of this year, I launched my business, which is an apparel line called Big Ass Joggers. And it's basically it's BIG 888 jogger. And basically what Big Ass Joggers is just inspiring people to be their biggest selves at whatever they do. You know, for me, having the weight loss goal and different things of that nature, you know, I came down from 340 pounds and I wasn't inspired to go out and run and jog and do all those different things because I was afraid of the comments that may be made of not being a full jogger or trying to lose weight or just feeling uncomfortable in my own skin. And my apparel line gives people the ability to feel comfortable in their own skin and feel empowered when they want to go out and make a transformation. So you can find my website and my apparel on bigassjoggers.com, and that is BIG 888 joggers.com. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that Danny will share everything else, but yeah, it's an amazing movement, social media movement. You can find me at Lou_BIG 888 jogger as well. And yeah, I hope you guys, definitely love the content. We're always pushing motivation, inspiration, and also going into companies and speaking about motivation and inspiration and morale and community as well. So yeah, thank you, Dan, for giving me this platform to really to share with people what I'm currently doing.
Absolutely, and finally here, Lou, I'll have you back on the show. I know very, very soon because there's a lot of stuff for us to talk about, but let's flip the script here. I promised you that you could have the microphone, so go ahead and ask away with your questions in rapid fire.
Absolutely. So since, the day in the life of me being an athlete there, what have you seen from a standpoint from 2012 until now with Syracuse football? I know we took our lows and I know we took our highs as well, but what are some of the things that if you had a magic wand you would like to see in the next upcoming year?
If I had a magic wand, I'd like to see the offensive line continue to improve. I'd like to see Syracuse dedicate to the run. I'd like to see what the quarterback situation in the room is. If Tommy struggles through these first few weeks, I'd love to put somebody else out there and just get a feel, because the lighting a fire under somebody is something that should never be understated. So I'd love to be open-minded about our quarterback room and competition. And I'd also, like to definitely start committing to the run more. The defense needs to just keep doing what they're doing. And, if we can commit to the run and see, the quarterback situation get better, I think Syracuse can give something. But you can't win, especially in the ACC, with only half of the team doing what it needs to do. So
I hear that. No, I love it. I love it. Now, last question, not Syracuse related, rapid fire. We're going to get a little personal. You asked about, you talked about your dating life and different things of that nature, or the crazy one that you were dating in the past. What's the dating life like for my man Dan now, man? How's Syracuse holding you up out there, man?
It is terrifying. I will tell you, Lou, that the dating world, man, it's just people with all social media and this, that. There's a lot of fake. There's a lot of lack of responsibility. There's a lot of lack of communication. I just hope. I believe in God, and I know he's sending somebody. I think the girl that he tried to send to me, I think she got trapped by a bunch of crazy women, and she got put in a layer, and now I'm trying to get her out, and she's in a bunker, and nobody can hear her yelling right now. It's like soundproof, and it's metal. But, yeah, I don't know where she is, but all I can tell you is that God makes women and men, and the devil makes some men and women too. And the devil makes some pretty women, and I've met a lot of them, and I just would appreciate if the devil's factory shut down for a little while.
Dan, it seems like I went to a little bit of a touchy subject, man.
you done tapped on a nerve this morning, but that's all right, Lou.
Hey, I guess we're woke now, right? I guess everybody's up now, right?
Yeah, stay woke on Wake Up Call. That's how it is, Lou. But yeah, so dude, if you know anybody on the West Coast, the East Coast has terrified me in the last few years. So you let a brother know, and I'll make my way out there. But I don't know. I got better chances with a girl coming from Guardians of the Galaxy. I said if Groot had a sister, I would date that talking tree. I don't even care at this point. I don't care. This human race is scaring me in the dating world. But
oh man. Well, listen, hey, if I see any contenders for you, man, that fits the mold, I'll definitely make sure that I send them your way, man. You gotta come out here and visit me on the West Coast, man. We'll set you up with something.
All right, well, sounds good, Lou. And if for nothing else, we'll be two pretty men walking around the city. So that's it's good enough for me. But if you see anything on the West Coast, man, just understand that the East Coast is cloudy with a chance of rain over here. So we need to get right.
I got you, dude. I got you. You know it, man. You're my man, so I got you, my man.
All right, brother. Well, listen, take care of yourself, and I'll look forward to having you back on the show soon.
Hey, thank you so much, Dan. I appreciate it as well. And always go Qs, bleed orange forever. And I appreciate you having me again.
All right, man. Be safe. Be good.
All right, you too.
Thank you. Take care. That coming from Lou Alexander of Syracuse Orange football history. Once again, that was amazing. And, he tapped on that nerve. He got me on that. So Daryl Free said, Big Lou, proud of you. What you've done and what you're doing, stay blessed. So, Daryl, I'll make sure that I could send that off to him. But, yeah, so such an amazing conversation with Lou Alexander, and we got to take a fast break. Oh, man. Lou didn't know. He's listened to the show before, but he didn't know where I was going to go when he touched. I didn't know he was going to ask that question, but Mom knows that you open that door, I'm going to swing through it. So, but we'll take... Oh, it feels, it's good to have a laugh, right? It's always good to laugh. So we'll be back here on Wake Up Call to wrap up the show right after this fast break. Lord be with us all. I know you are.
Avicoli's Restaurant, located right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road, is proud to be your local neighbor, growing with you for over 20 years. We're open 7 days a week for lunch, dinner, and drinks. For takeout, delivery, or catering, call us at 315-622-5100. When you order online and use our promo code AVS10, you will save 10% on your online purchase at myavicolis.com. And make sure to join us monthly for our live on-site broadcasts centered around Liverpool athletics. Avicolis, your local, trusted neighbor right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road.
Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
Trapper's Pizza Pub, located on 5950 Butternut Drive in East Syracuse. Right off of Bridge Street is your local community supporter right around the corner. Join us on site at Trapper's Pizza Pub for our live monthly broadcast supporting Central New York student athletes and their sports programs. Call 315-438-4444 for more information. And find us on Facebook and Instagram at Trapper's Pizza Pub. Trapper's Pizza Pub, your local community supporter right around the corner.
Cafe Cabal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafecabal.com. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpazsnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you make your way out to the Millhouse Market, but before you do that, download the app on the Google Play or Apple App Store, and you will have the entire menu at your fingertips. In the morning, the breakfast menu will be there for you. Once it hits the afternoon, that'll go away. So if you want to get some breakfast, make sure that you download the app and get going in the morning. You'll have all the information that you need, everything from their homemade breads to their homemade desserts, their breakfast pizza, as well as all of their specialty pizzas, their traditional pizzas, over 30 different sandwiches, healthy bowls, salads, and so much more. The Millhouse Market, from homemade items and homemade recipes, there is nothing like the Millhouse Market because they bring you their own feel, their own touch, And I can honestly tell you, with being somebody that loves food from all over the country and outside of the country in different places that I've been, the Millhouse Market is a place that every single week is worth the drive. It doesn't matter if you're a mile down the road or 30 miles away. Make sure that you get to the Millhouse Market and try their amazing food. They also have contactless pay on the app. So you download the app, you pick your food, the entire menu is there for you. You can read through all of the information. It tells you all of the ingredients on the app itself, so it makes it really, really easy. You pick it, you do the contactless pay, you can tip right there on the app, and then you can stay in your car and pick up your food at the drive-up window. The Millhouse Market doing so many awesome things in a very unique time, and we appreciate them for all that they do. 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. The Millhouse Market is absolutely worth the drive every time. With that being said, I want to thank my guests today. I want to thank Syracuse University for the opportunity of the post-game press conference, and I want to thank Dino Babers for answering my questions, spending some time as we've done these last 5 years. I want to thank Kingsley Jonathan as well, defensive lineman for Syracuse, and of course, I want to thank Lou Alexander, who really started. I feel like we barely, even though we were on the show for, a little over half an hour, I feel like we barely opened up the conversation. So, Lou, I look forward to having you back. I love your personality and love your positivity. And make sure that you go to bigA88jogger.com. That's big A, the letter A, bigA88jogger.com, and go check out Lou's clothing line and so much more, going well beyond the clothing line and trying to help people feel good about themselves and, treat yourself well. So all thanks to Lou and thanks to Dino, as well as to Kingsley Jonathan and SU. And we went around the NFL, speaking on the Jaguars and the NFL here in Week 1. We got some great games coming up here still in Week 1, and we'll talk about those as we go through. A fantastic week is coming up for you. My cousin Fran just committed to play for one of the top teams in the nation in Division I women's lacrosse, Stony Brook. And so Fran, who's nicknamed the Wolf, will be playing for the Sea Wolves, and she has verbally committed, and so she'll be on the show here sitting in studio right next to me tomorrow. We'll also have the Ingredients to Success presented by Eva Coley's, as always, every Tuesday, and we'll be live in the morning to start the show with Tyrone Perkins, former running back for Syracuse. Also coming up this week on Wednesday is our Midweek Blitz segment with Julian Wiggum of Syracuse history, cornerback alum that just started this past week, and he'll be carrying us throughout at least the college football season. Fantasy football Power Hour, we'll be talking about Week 1 and going into Week 2 with fantasy football advice and our picks with Mike Sofka of Hall of Fame FantasyFootball.com. Papa Joe will be in his normal Thursday stint, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We will have Enrique A. Cruz Jr. back on the show. We had him when he was deciding on his school. Now that he's a Syracuse commit, he'll be rejoining the show on Thursday. And then on Friday, we'll have the Annoying Moment of the Week. Lead, which is Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. Annoying Moment brought to you by Carvel DeWitt. Lead brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero. Top Dog will be announced, brought to you by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding. And we will round out the week with conversations with Joe Corley following the information that they will be moving the high school football season in Central and Upstate New York to March. So we'll talk with Joe Corley, and we have an awesome video conversation with Jason Lucas on the American Athletic Conference, UCF, and how college football really is not truly fair. And I know that for those of you that pay attention, you're like, duh, Dan, obviously it's not fair, but it isn't. And we'll discuss that and some of the things that are on our mind. So plenty coming up this week. Appreciate you as always. Please make sure you find us on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT, and always on WakeUpCallDT.com. You can listen in and watch the show every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You can listen on mixlr.com/WakeUpCallDT. You can watch and listen on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, as well as the playbacks that'll be on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, and you can search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora's audio files on Stitcher, MixLR, Spotify, TuneIn, the RSS feed, YouTube, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and so much more. And of course, I want to thank all of our Central and Upstate New York partners: Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt's, the Wildcat Sports Pub, as well as Avicoli's, Mon Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Honda City of Liverpool, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Trapper's Pizza Pub, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Borio's Restaurant, the Millhouse Market, and our beverages of choice, Coca-Cola and body armor. With that being stated, have a fantastic day. I'm looking forward to a fantastic day myself and a hopeful fantastic week. Please be safe, and as always, God bless, no stress, do your best. I'll talk with you all soon here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets life. Thank you, Lord.